Kevin Holland versus Darren Stewart is a middleweight bout. Kevin Holland has judo record of 18 wins, 5 losses. Darren Stewart has judo record of 12 wins, 5 losses. Alright, so Kevin Holland is currently 27 years old, almost 28 years old, and Darren Stewart is 29 years old, almost 30 years old, which means I honestly doubt there's going to be an age advantage for either of these fighters in this fight. Alright, so Kevin Holland had a pretty okay start to his career, as he ended up winning his first 4 fights, 2 by submission and 2 by first round KO, but in his next 2 fights ended up losing by unanimous decision and a first round rear naked choke, but came back with a second round KO, a second round guillotine, a first round submission, a third round KO, a first round KO, which got him into the LFA, where he ended up fighting a very good fighter in Curtis Millender, but ended up losing that fight by unanimous decision. After that loss, he came back with a first round KO inside of the LFA and a third round KO inside of the XKO, which got him into the Bellator, where he ended up getting a first round triangle choke submission, which got him a shot on Dana White's Contender Series against Will Santiago. Now, in the Contender Series fight, it was a little bit close in the first round, but in the second and third round, he dominated, and he ended up getting the win by unanimous decision, getting him a shot in the UFC against a beast in Thiago Santos. Now, in the fight, he was getting dominated, and it's understandable, it's Thiago Santos, but he ended up losing that fight by unanimous decision. After that loss, he came back with a third round rear naked choke win over John Phillips, a split decision win over Gerald Mershart, and a unanimous decision win over Alessio De Carico. But in his next fight against an absolute beast in Brendan Allen, he ended up losing by second round rear naked choke. After that loss, he came back with a first round KO over Anthony Hernandez and a third round KO over Jaquan Buckley. Alright, now let's take a look at his opponent, Darren Stewart. Alright, so Darren Stewart had a very good start to his career, as his first 2 fights were inside of Cage Warriors, and he ended up winning both fights by first round KO, but ended up leaving Cage Warriors for the next 3 fights, where he ended up getting 2 unanimous decision wins and a first round KO, which got him back into Cage Warriors, where he ended up getting a first round KO, a third round KO, which got him into the UFC, where he ended up fighting Francismar Barroso, where he ended up getting his first loss by unanimous decision. After that loss, he ended up fighting Carl Robertson, who was undefeated at the time, but he ended up getting his second loss by first round rear naked choke submission. After those 2 losses inside the UFC, he ended up getting one more shot against Julian Marquez, who he ended up losing to by second round submission. After those 3 losses in a row, he was dangerously close from being cut from the UFC, but in his next fight in the UFC, he ended up getting a second round KO, followed by a second round KO from elbow, but in his next fight against an absolute beast in Edmund Shabazian, ended up losing by split decision. After that loss, he came back with a unanimous decision win against Baylon Lewis and a very close split decision win over Darren Wynn. After those 2 wins, he ended up leaving the UFC for 1 fight and went back to Cage Warriors, where he ended up fighting Bartosz Fabinski and ended up losing by unanimous decision. After that loss, he came back in the UFC in his most recent fight in August, where he ended up beating Maki Patolo by first round guillotine choke. Alright, so I honestly think this is a perfectly good fight for Kevin Holland to win. Kevin Holland has power. Kevin Holland has takedown defense. Kevin Holland has very good submission skills as well. I honestly think he could get the knockout 100%, but I don't think he's going to knock out Darren Stewart in this fight. I think this fight goes all the way, all these 3 rounds, and I think Kevin Holland is going to get the win by unanimous decision. Alright, if you agree, disagree, or have something to say, make sure in the comment section below, and I'll respect to every single in those comments. Make sure to like, subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss the absolute best MMA content out there. It's been fun, but I'm out of here.